last week, or not last week, a few weeks ago about a business license. Left a few messages with you guys, Stephen and Robin, and what's the next step? I'd like to, if we have concerns, let's sit and talk about it, but it's something I'd like to go forward with. And, I just want to be legal about everything and be a good citizen of West Haven and see what I can do to make this work.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's what actions or anything, any responses have come back. Mr. Nelson, anything has come back?
So the problem here is that back in, was it October?
Yeah.
September, Mr. Anderson came and addressed the council about this particular issue. At that time, it was before we had hired Stephen as our community development director. I had it put onto the planning commission agenda to specifically find out whether or not that they were wanting to look at making an amendment to the home occupation ordinance. And Mr. Anderson was actually at that meeting also. And in fact, I talked to him about not putting in a home occupation license application just so that he'd save the money if they said, no, we don't want to. Didn't want him to spend money unnecessarily if that was the case. They unequivocally said that they would not amend it because, and the issue has to do with him having to have 1 acre. We have had issues regarding vehicle repair in the past and home occupation, and how, and other issues with, and other types of vehicle things. In fact, 2 years prior to, about a couple of years back, the Planning Commission actually had met with the committee and went through and were very deliberate about how to deal with, they went through the whole entire home occupation with the committee and then brought that to the Planning Commission, which is why we have what the home occupation we currently have. And so they all said, look, we're not willing to amend it. We have to draw the line somewhere, and this is where it's going to be, is that you have to have 1 acre if you're wanting to do motor vehicle stuff. So Mr. Anderson can submit a home occupation request, but it will be denied because it doesn't fit within the code.
So, and I do get where you guys are coming from. There are businesses that are in residential that should not be. I can go off of, stipulations, keep it 1 trailer out there to where it doesn't look like a business. That's, let's kind of work together and just say, hey, Mike, here's your restrictions.
It doesn't fit the code.
What's that?
It doesn't fit within the code restrictions.
I know, but so let's talk about acreage. Back in the day, 30 years ago, when West Haven was really getting going, it was only acre lots, right? And this subdivision was technically acre lots. So, I mean, if you want to get technical, it's 0.96 acres. It's an acre lot.
But it's not.
I know, I get what you're saying. It's not, but it was back in the day considered an acre lot. So I mean, if it's a no-go, then I'll leave and say thank you. But if there's some way we can work about it, I would love some feedback.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing. I mean, we can discuss and see if there's anything else we can do at this point, but where it is set up, because they did change. I'm pretty sure that it did change over at a certain time where, the lots ended up having to be that full acre, where you're exactly right. Back in the day, it was 0.92 and up. I mean, right in that range, because that's how they divided them up, taking out some of the roads. But overall, yeah, I think that's going to be something that would,
And I didn't know where to go from here. I've left messages and I want some input, if it's the other meeting I need to be attending and talking to them, I can do that.
I mean, if you want, like I said, you haven't submitted a business license request, you can do that. Like I said, it will be denied at this point. You can always appeal to the appeal hearing officer after that, but that's where it's at right now. And
Okay.
the planning commission was incredibly clear in October over it. In fact, I think you addressed the planning commission at the time.
I mean, I've been to a few meetings and just come to sit in. I've never really,
But that particular one regarding this particular issue, you did address them as to, being able to look at amending it.
I don't remember that meeting other than just the paperwork trail. And at that time you was, well, you know what, you did have that older, or the lady that used to sit in before I do remember that part. So, well, I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you. And we'll see you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Appreciate it. All right, anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our next item on here, is our upcoming events, item 4. For our budget kickoff meeting is going to be on February 25th at 5:30. That will be held at the barn, and I hope everybody gets a chance to make sure you're available, and we're excited to talk about our budget. Our senior lunch bunch will be on February 26th, the day after, at 11:30 a.m. That also will be held at the Barn Community Center. We're looking forward to our open house for Scott Venstra's retirement on March 11th at 12 noon. It'll be here at the city building. We have our Easter egg hunt, which is open to everyone.
It's open to everyone.
And so that'll be on April 19th of this year, of course, with at 9 a.m. at the Kenneth Baldwin Park, as we have done it every year. So that's always an exciting event. We're looking forward to that. Any other upcoming events the council may know of? If not, we'll move on to item 5 on our council updates. Any council updates that we'd like to present to the public?
I guess I could have during the upcoming events, but the Art Council just announced their next art workshop on March 21st. They're doing an acrylic paint night over at the barn as well. So they're excited about that. That was just posted on the website and social media. So those interested can sign up on through the sports site or giving the city a call.
Hey, perfect. Anything else from the council? Okay, we'll move on to our next items on here. Item 6, action on our consent agenda. That is for item A is our city council minutes that were held on February 5th of this year. And that's all we have on our consent agenda. Any questions or concerns on that?
I just have one correction, Emily. Under number 7, on the second paragraph, Council Member Dixon, the capital is OL instead of AL. So the Utah State Capitol is CAPITOL. Just
Fix that.
but yeah, just saying. So that's all I had.
Okay, I think on item number 9 on introduction to Weber County Sheriff's Office, that's Chief Guard, and it says GAR.
I will fix that as well.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Okay, we will move on to our next item on here, item 7, action on Planning Commission meeting recommendations.
Do you want to vote on the consent agenda?
Oh, yeah, we need to do that. Thank you, Councilmember Dixon.
I mean, we
I
can
think
do
we
that.
were ready to vote. Right. I'm ready for a motion.
I move, oh, well, there's actually a B on there too. Is that right? A and B?
Not on mine.
Oh, okay. Maybe I have the wrong one. I move that we accept the city council minute as corrected on the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the council? Okay, Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Call,
Aye.
Councilmember Morse,
Aye.
Councilmember Saunders,
Aye.
and Councilmember Schwab.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries on that. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. Item 7 on here, action on Planning Commission meeting recommendations. Action on ordinance 01-2025, amendment to chapter 156 subdivision regulations. I think we turn this over to our community development director.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Council. So tonight, the ordinance in front of you is changing the approval of the land use authority for amended subdivision plats. Just some quick background on why this is before you tonight. So West Haven City Code currently requires that both the Planning Commission and City Council review and approve an amended plats, amended subdivision plats. However, since the passage of SB 174 and HB 406, the city which changed the approval authority for most subdivisions to the Planning Commission, the city has just had the Planning Commission be the approval authority for amended subdivision plats. However, our code currently states that it should be the Planning Commission and City Council. And so our practice has not aligned with what our actual code says. And so because of that, we felt like it was important to bring this change in front of the council and planning commission sooner in order to rectify those concerns. And so the big changes that are being considered are only contained within 156.002, which is scope of chapter for the subdivision code, and in the final section of that chapter, which essentially all it does is essentially what it does is it just changes that no lot within the subdivision approved by, it changes it to city instead of just planning commission. And then it goes down to change it that if any property owner wants to amend a subdivision plat, they have to first petition the city to amend the subdivision plat and obtain approval of the planning commission, and the city council was removed. And then we cite our standards and state standards for that subdivision plat. So all subdivision amendments shall comply with the provisions of this chapter, the underlying zoning standards and standards set within state code 109A 608 and 109A 609 as amended, which are the provisions within state code that govern what amended subdivision plat has to contain and that approval process. So that's pretty much it. It's a pretty simple code change. I do want to point out and mention a couple of things. The mayor brought up some questions to me earlier today that we discussed through. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. There was some concern about potential subdivision amendments that would increase density within existing subdivisions and potentially the creation of flag lots that were a little bit out of the normal lots that would be allowed through a typical subdivision process. And so the first point is our code currently addresses flag lots. And so this is in 157.617, labeled flag lots. It states that no flag lot shall be allowed, which proposes to re-subdivide or include within it, including the right-of-way or access strip, any portion of an existing lot in a recorded subdivision. So essentially, you can't use the amended subdivision plat to create a flag lot. So if your lot doesn't have the required frontage for multiple lots, even though it might have the acreage to support it, you still want to be able to subdivide it and create a flag lot through this process if your lot's within a recorded subdivision. Our code also addresses one of the issues about increasing density within development. We have some sections of town, particularly our more historic sections that are currently zoned A1, have rather large lots beyond what the minimum zoning requires. Currently, our A1 zone requires the minimum lot size be 20,000 square feet, and a lot of our A1 lots are about an acre in size or larger. And so if you look at it on the face, you might be able to subdivide it and create a smaller lot. However, our code specifically prohibits within A1 zones subdividing any additional lots unless your lot contains 80,000 square feet before the proposed division, and the density cannot be increased beyond that of then an existing zone. And our A2 subdivision already has the same requirements. And so there are a couple provisions within our code that already prevent some of that additional densification of existing subdivisions through the amended subdivision plat process. So that was kind of a quick review of the code. Is there any questions?
Yeah, thanks for that summary. And again, I think it's just, it was brought to attention only because we need to also protect the subdivisions that are already there and the densities that are within those so that it doesn't disrupt the neighbors' situation where they've invested to have that open space and that clarity. And having the distances between, you know, house and fence, so to speak, when we've seen some go in where it's been really tight and it's disrupting, I think, to that neighborhood where they've got acre lots or somewhere close to that range. So that was the thought, but there's other items on here. This is basically, I think, just really clear that the changeover due to legislation is to move, you know, this to the planning commission. We have option to pick some other avenue, but this is the option I think is probably what's best for the city to give them the right to make some of these decisions for us under the circumstances. So any questions from the council?
So I didn't read SB 174 or HB 406 entirely. So I would rely on you, Stephen, to tell me. Right here, you said that the city could assign another body and a hybrid committee could be somebody that's assigned. Is that specifically stated within that code? Those two House bills and state bill?
Yes, and
So does our code have anything that says that that hybrid committee has to be appointed by the mayor?
no, our-
Nothing to that. So anybody, any staff member could create this hybrid committee at any time?
no. And so the land use authority for any land use application can be dictated by the council through ordinance. And so the state code for within this section, when it talks about creating a land use authority, it really is just stating that there's different options that a city could pursue, but not that you have to pursue. And so within that state code for the administrative land use authority, it just states that it shall be it essentially can be anybody except for the council for that section within that section. And so it can be the planning commission, it could be a hybrid, it could be anybody that the council decided to appoint, but that would have to be decided through ordinance. Staff could not just create it.
Excellent. That answers my question.
Yeah, great explanation, by the way.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any other questions? If not, I'm ready for a motion.
I will make a motion to approve ordinance 01-2025, amendment to chapter 156 subdivision regulations.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the council on this particular recommendation? Okay, we'll do a roll call on this one. Let's do Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Morse,
Aye.
Councilmember Call,
Aye.
Councilmember Saunders,
Aye.
and Councilmember Schwab.
Aye.
A motion carries on that. And I was really impressed too, having that conversation with Stephen, Mr. Nelson, in regards to them looking into any of these things that can be amended so that we make sure that there is protection because it is bypassing the council. So if there's anything on there that you see that's concerns or issues down the road, those are amendments can be made especially as we look at our general plan coming up. So appreciate your work on that and your information. Moving on to item 8, action on resolution 07-2025, declaring certain property as surplus to allow to auction or sell property as follows: 3 filing cabinets and a bookcase. We'll be able to probably pay for some major roads after we sell some of these things on here.
I think this should go to the kids.
It should. It should.
I'll beef hot dogs.
Is there any questions about this resolution to move this into
Don't
surplus?
tell my wife about the bookcase. Or I'll have to find a place for it.
It's a pretty big bookcase, isn't it? Pretty good sized bookcase.
Honor, Amy, is there a threshold on a dollar amount or value of an item that we have to do this? These are pretty small items.
I think one thing that I would recommend, we just haven't gotten to the point of drafting something, but by ordinance, define city personal property and granting some authority to the city manager to essentially dispose of it in the most economical way. And
What are you doing with your broken staplers right now? I'm just curious.
good question.
So if something If
They're
you
in
need
one of
something
those-
not to have any value, then you can just throw it away.
Okay.
So,
They're all in the
like,
filing cabinet.
we, there's been like broken chairs that we've just been able to throw
Okay.
away, or like, there was a nasty couch,
Ooh,
nasty
terrible.
couch that we just threw away because there was no way to, there was no value to it. I mean, there's just, and so there's, if you can justify that, hey, it doesn't have any value, then yes, you can just throw it away without having to surplus it.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? That's a good question.
I just have one correction at the top of the resolution. The first sentence has one too many A's. Resolution of West Haven City declaring certain filing cabinets and
It's a
a
grade
bookcase.
grade A bookcase.
So if that's what's intended, then fantastic.
It's a really great bookcase.
All right.
AA. I like A's.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you for that correction.
So if we're good with that, I'll make a motion
Okay.
to adopt resolution 07-2025 declaring certain property as surplus to allow to auction or sell property as follows: 3 filing cabinets and a bookcase.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the council on this resolution? If not, we'll do the roll call on that. Councilmember Call.
Aye.
Councilmember Saunders.
Aye.
Councilmember Schwab.
Aye.
Councilmember Dixon.
Aye.
Councilmember Morse.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. We look forward to some big dollars out of this stuff over here. All right, we'll move on to item 9, action on resolution 08-2025 to file an action in eminent domain against parcel number 08-037-0092 for the necessary completion of a city road improvement project. And we'll turn this over to our city manager, Mr. Warnke.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a parcel that's located at the intersection of 3300 South and 5100 West. It's, as the mayor described in reading the agenda, it's property that's needed for a road improvement project. We've reached out to the property owner multiple times, and we're at the point where, in order to move the project forward, we propose this be considered and would recommend the approval of such, which would allow the city to move forward with an alternative process to acquire the property, since we haven't at this point been able to negotiate the acquisition of the property. And I would just mention for the public's benefit that that price that we've offered is consistent with an appraised value. So it's been a process that we've worked through and followed all the relative points of law, along with giving notice to the property owner. And anyways, for that reason, since we're at an impasse at this point, it is appropriate, in my opinion, to consider exercising this authority that's granted to local government and other governments for public improvements.
Thank you for that explanation. Appreciate that. Council, do you have any questions about this resolution as well? As mentioned by one of the council members, this is very important for the safety of the city as well. And with the schools being involved in this with sidewalks and so forth, it's very important to get completed at this point. If there's no other discussion on this, I'm ready for an action on this resolution, a motion.
Move to adopt resolution 08-2025 to file an action in eminent domain against parcel number 08-037-0092 for the necessary completion of a city road improvement project.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the council on this resolution? Okay, we will do a roll call on this. Councilmember Morse,
Aye.
Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Schwab,
Aye.
Councilmember Saunders,
Aye.
and Councilmember Call.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries on that. Always difficult to get involved with these, but this is important for the city to move forward with. So we appreciate your help on this. Item 10 is action on resolution 09-2025 awarding a bid to Anderson Asphalt for crack seal and Mastic One for certain city streets. Mr. McNoy.
Thank you, Mayor. We're here tonight to ask the council to consider awarding a contract for our annual road maintenance program. This is something that we do every year about this time of year. It's for crack sealing and mastic installation, which is a form of restoration for various areas within the city. Public Works has identified 10 specific areas, which total approximately 142,000 linear feet of crack sealing and mastic application. And this year, we took advantage of the fact that Anderson Asphalt has been granted was awarded a state cooperative contract where it was pre-qualified and the bid prices were set. There was one caveat that I did put in the staff report was that the bid prices that we got from Anderson were lower than what were in the state contract. And we wanted to make sure that that was consistent with the terms of the state contract. And I did hear back from Natalie Christensen, who is the contract manager for the state, and she said that Anderson's proposal is consistent with the state contract, so the council is free to award it tonight if you choose to go that route. So our recommendation is that the council award the contract for the 2025 road crack seal project to Anderson Asphalt in the amount of $142,872.47. And the maps and everything were included with the staff report, so you can see what areas that we were treating this year.
We have a schedule for our roads to have this completed, right?
Correct.
So, and this
Scott
is
typically has it like a 3-year
three
outlook
years. That's the
identify.
life expectancy of that coverage.
These are restorative or preservative tactics, which are aimed at extending the lives of the roads. Unfortunately, they're not the most aesthetic sometimes. We do hear a lot of comments sometimes about the look for crack sealing and mastic, but they are effective. They do preserve the longevity of the roads, and it prevents us from having to actually do a full remill and repave, which obviously be much more costly. And typically, you don't want to get into that kind of situation unless there's really issues with the base of the road, sort of like the main issue we had with 4300 South, where there was no way to restore the asphalt anymore. It had to be ripped up and replaced.
Thank you for that. Any questions from the council on this project or the award bid? Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve action on resolution 09-2025 awarding a bid to Anderson Asphalt for crack seal and mastic, one for certain city streets.
Second.
Okay.
Dollar amount on that?
Yeah, we need to have that. 142, what was it?
Oh, how much was it?
$142,872.47.
142.
142.
142,872.47.
That's right.
In the amount of 142,872.47.
Still a second on that?
Yes.
Okay, we're good to go then. All right, any other further questions on this before we move to a vote? Okay, we'll do our vote from here. So, Councilmember Saunders,
Aye.
Councilmember Morse,
Aye.
Councilmember Call,
Aye.
Councilmember Schwab,
Aye.
and Councilmember.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, thank you for that, Ed. We appreciate your work on that. Let's move to item 11 on here for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on our adjournment? I think we're good to go. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.